What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to do a pre-market video only because of what the hell is happening. I want to break it down for you and everything else. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. And on a side note, depending on how the day does turn out, I'll do a PM video as well. But right now it is down 8.81%, so a little bit mind-blowing if you kind of think about it, because we did have very good earnings. So in case you missed it yesterday, they did hit a lot of their marks. So they hit their year-end production targets. They did give 20,000 in guidance for 2025, and I think in general that's good, a very nice improvement. But the negative thing that most likely analysts are hanging on to is that of that 20,000, they could not give Gravity details. So I think that is being seen as a negative, but they did beat on revenue. So 234.5 million, and I believe 214 was the consensus. They did beat on the earnings per share, so came in at negative 22 cents. Forecast was negative 25. So for all extensive purposes, I think it is a triple beat. Just the market doesn't see it as that. Also, very big news, Peter did step down, so he's still sticking with Lucid up until 2027, but he is stepping down from the CEO role. Mark is kind of going to be in that interim CEO, and honestly, he very well spoken, and you can tell he has a very good vision for Lucid, so there can be ramping up on marketing, and also, especially from his role of COO, he wants to really ramp up on production. So kind of a good thing. So I think a lot of analysts did actually outright ask, like, so this is a weird kind of scenario. Why is Peter not handing the baton to you, Mark? Like, why is he just out? They couldn't answer it. Just to save you some time, because I like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, Peter most likely got unofficially fired. He got given this fake role, is going to be paid out up until 2027. He gets to keep his shares, but he clearly screwed up royally. And I think even Mark mentioned, because when one of the questions was asked about the whole 20 to 80, like 80% revenue going forward coming from like licensing and technology, Mark just simply said that Peter misspoke. So I think just Peter really did overextend himself and probably just promised too much. And so, yeah, they unofficially fired him. Again, they'll never say that, because for a co-founder to be fired, that is probably one of the biggest red flags ever. So again, that is a good, kind of a bad thing. Mixed feelings on that. It's kind of a weird earnings not to have Peter there, but beside the point, Mark's new vision is very optimistic, so going to be ramping up on marketing. Also, the hands-free is going to be coming out later this year. He did reiterate there for the rest of the year, the touring for the Gravity, that's going to be on schedule. The midsize is on schedule, and everything seems to be coming together for the most part. But like I said, a lot of the analysts were very, very negative. You can tell that based on a lot of the questions. And I think this is why Lucid is going down, because of this. So we did have a couple ratings that did come out. Tom wasted no time, gave his rating yesterday, $2 price target. Adam Jonas 3, which he's normally and was the biggest bear of them all. So it's kind of weird to see him giving a $3 sell, maintaining his position. And John Murphy, he was one of the biggest bulls of Lucid a long time ago, and maybe it's correlated with Peter, that's why he did downgrade to a sell. But essentially this isn't good. And when it comes down to it, analysts also were hanging on to this right here. So there was a prospectus that was submitted and ultimately indicating that selling stockholders, and there's only one listed, the PIF, could sell up to these shares. So for the most part, their position, and that is being seen as a red flag. It was actually asked as one of the questions to Gagnon. Gagnon didn't understand what the hell he was talking about, so that was a very bad image from Lucid, is someone not being able to answer pretty much one of the documents that you just submitted. So maybe he wasn't aware of that or privy to that, because that was his last day as interim CFO. So maybe he just didn't, I don't know, didn't pay attention. there's been numerous forms of these prospectuses that have been submitted. And so I think that it's just a formality, just giving the PIF an out. The only thing I think that is making this a little bit more real is that there was a corresponding document, and it looks very, very formal, and it looks like it was notarized, and so meaning they went to go see a lawyer. And so this one again kind of matches with this. So if this prospectus was just submitted, then fine, whatever, not a big deal. But if you throw in now this right here, this makes it look very formal. So even though very much like none of this might ever come out, the PIF might not essentially sell anything, this is spooking, I think, some of the market. So that's just my opinion, of course. And if the PIF, let's say, does sell some of these shares, that bring their position lower than 50%, again, having them not have a controlling interest in the stock. So I don't see, it is what it is. Honestly, it's a lot of these prospectuses, and it's not just Lucid. A lot of companies do this same type of thing for their selling stockholders that they list, to when, if they want to sell, they can sell. It would result in dilution, but for the most part, it wouldn't really affect the volatility. So I feel like it's a combination of this, the prospectus, the formality of it, and also just Peter abruptly leaving without handing the baton, as what analysts kind of stated, and just the lack of guidance for the Gravity. That is what analysts are really hanging on to, because technically every other aspect, Lucid has really been improving. And Mark even brought up saying that marketing has sucked. It largely has sucked in the past, and Gravity, they've seen larger, better than anticipated orders come in, which 3/4 of them have come from new customers, not any pre-existing Lucid owners or anything. So it's hitting a new target audience, which is a good thing, but without them giving good future guidance, analysts couldn't really forecast appropriately. So this is why you have a lot of bearish ratings, and this is why it is selling off. So very, very crazy stuff. I did decide to buy a little bit, so I just made a brand new account, and so I did decide to buy just 1,000 shares right here, as you can kind of see. So I bought in at $2.50 because I see it as very, very overdone. So that's I'll be buying a little bit more, but this is the very first time I've bought in longer than a year. I've done a lot of options on Lucid, but I have not actually bought any physical stock. But who knows, maybe today is going to be an absolute bloodbath for Lucid. The broader market seems to be recovering fairly well. As you can kind of see right here, NASDAQ is up 0.93, S&P up 0.6, Dow is up 0.3. So this is a quick summary of everything that you need to know when it comes down to Lucid's earnings. I might have missed one or two things. I'm just going based on memory for the most part, but today seems to be a very interesting day. I personally liked it, and I think Mark is very well spoken. The new CFO, I can't remember their name off the top of my head, but even they are very well spoken, and they have a very good view and image for Lucid's future. So that's kind of what you want to see in a CFO. But this price action is rather crazy. I don't believe shorts are updating right now. So most likely I would anticipate shorts to be fairly active today to double down on these negative ratings, which some of which could be just pure manipulation. Remember, the day before Lucid's earnings, they did get that $13 rating, a cut from $3.50. So that's definitely not great whatsoever. So as a consensus, $2.64 is that price target, representing a 1.15% upside. So not all, that's not good whatsoever. So let me know your thoughts. I'll be doing a PM video most likely, going over what shorts, options, and everything else, what the data points are truly saying. Then I'll bring up as well if there's any other kind of points that I did accidentally omit from their earnings. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Give yourself a shout out if you are buying like myself, or are you selling? What's your general kind of thoughts on all that? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point and bangers. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.